Well, welcome, Hayden, for your second foray into the fireside.
Yeah,
And I'm glad to have you back. It's
yeah, glad to be here.
been about a month now or something, isn't it, since I last spoke
Yeah,
to you?
we were gonna do them sort of one a week for 2 weeks running, but yeah, we never managed to do that, did we, for
But
various
you
reasons.
blew
But
me off, man. That's why you're
yeah,
too busy globetrotting and etc. etc. No, it was absolutely fine. Since I last spoke to
well,
you.
you had a your internet was down when we tried to do it whilst I was in
Yeah,
Iceland, wasn't it, as
yeah,
well?
exactly. Yeah. Now
That's
I've
what's
just got
cool.
this. Hopefully, this microphone is directional enough that you won't hear it. But there's a fire alarm that just keeps going on night and day, and it'll go on
Oh, really?
off for
Good.
about 20 minutes. Yeah, and the windows here are really thin because they're
Yeah.
yeah. Um,
Wait,
so
whereabouts are you? You're in
Kingston upon Thames.
Kingston.
Yeah,
Yeah, Kingston. That's right. Yeah.
I'm actually on the site of it used to be it used to be the Sopwith aircraft factory,
No, oh, Sopwith,
as
as
in
in the Sopwith
Sopwith
Camel.
Camel. Yeah,
Ah,
they used to
yeah.
be made here. The whole block, well, the whole square, Sigris Square, used to be a big factory, and this used to be the offices. And then
Oh,
later,
right, I see.
it got taken over by Kingston College at one point.
Mm.
Funny story. I was I was looking out the window because I heard this someone because we're on the second floor. I looked out the window and I saw this guy and he dropped all this stuff all over the ground. And I said to him, "Hey, I'll uh, I'll s- I'll throw a bag down for you."
Right.
He said thanks, and then he started to say, "Do you live here?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "I used to go and see bands here in the
Mm.
70s." And he was like, and he reeled off these names like Ian Jury played here and the Stranglers played here. And I thought,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
That's
So,
cool.
um, so it's got an interesting history, the building that I live in. That's
Yeah,
for
I mean, I suppose that's the sort of stages of urban renewal, isn't it? Something, a
yeah.
factory is shut down, then it becomes like a music venue slash dive, then it gets converted into housing.
Mm.
Um, yeah. Yeah, I'm really interested in the history of venues. My band played recently in a place in London called the Hope and Anchor, I believe
Oh,
it's called.
yeah, I've heard of the Hope and Anchor.
And it was the weirdest thing because I looked it up before we left, and the first link that comes up is a little documentary about the Damned, and the Damned films their music video for New Rose
Oh, yeah.
in on that little stage in
On
Hope and
the,
Anchor. So
yeah.
it's really cool to be on the same stage that they were in on, and you could see where everything still was. Hasn't changed that much really. So
So,
yeah.
so you mentioned your band. What's the name of your band? And what I see different incarnations of your musical self and others, but
Yeah.
yeah, I haven't caught up with it for a while.
Yeah, and so we're called Ravenous Hounds, and so this is a band that's been going for a while with a group of friends who they were in various other bands before that, and that was the sort of latest incarnation. But we got to know each other not that long ago, really, given that we're all sort of early middle age. And somehow we'd all been living in Norfolk at the same time and interested in the same kind of music, but we'd never met. And partly because I don't tend to go to that many gigs because at the time, sort of in my 20s, when I would have been going out and getting pissed and going to gigs and that sort of thing, I had a bit of social anxiety slash agoraphobia, so I wasn't out and about as much, so I wouldn't have met them. But I've met them a few years back, and yeah, it turns out we're into the same kind of music, and like all of my friends that I went to school with and everything, they weren't into the kind of garage punk and psychedelic rock stuff that I was into. They were much more into, and I was as well for a time, but they were much more into like extreme. heavy metal stuff
Yeah.
and that kind of thing. And I discovered kind of like more rock and roll and garage rock stuff when I was probably sort of 17, 18, and never turned back really. I just I was looking for something which was messier
Yeah.
and less kind of like clinical and
It's
precise and
orchestrated. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I wanted something which was just sort of dangerously nasty and sort of shambolic, I suppose. And so it's weird actually because when I write music, it's always the challenge is to try and make stuff because I write stuff digitally, and I do play parts, but it's in Logic and everything. It's using modern tech, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
And the challenge is to make it sound like it wasn't recorded that way, I suppose, to make it sound kind of off kilter
Yeah.
and grimy and stuff. And yeah, so my sort of musical projects, which I started up in during the pandemic, because I hadn't picked my guitar up for a while. I was just really obsessed with web related stuff and design and things. But during the pandemic, I decided that I wanted to actually try and finish some demos that I'd done and release something. And I put together this thing called Death Garage because it was like the combination of those two influences, the death metal stuff that my friends got me into, and the sort of garage rock stuff that I just discovered myself, or sort of garage punk, I suppose, is a better term for it. And that was through that I met well, it was a coincidence, but they liked the stuff that I'd made, the Death Garage stuff, which wasn't that far away from the Ravenous Hound stuff. And then they had a member who left, and so there was an opportunity for me to have a couple of jams with them. Although we don't call them jams, we call them Jeffs, and there's a specific bit of history for that. They used to play a lot in Great Yarmouth. Some of them are actually from in and around Great Yarmouth on the coast, and they played in this one pub, and there was a guy there who was just that bloke in the pub who's just sort of a bit strange and probably done a lot of drugs in his life, and he would just sort of hang about, but he'd really get into the music, and if he was into it and he was sort of moving around doing this sort of weird dancing and stuff, then that was an indication that they were on to something, because there was no pretense to it, like if he didn't like stuff, then he wouldn't try and force himself to feel
So,
it, you know?
so have you released stuff with this band, or is it just like?
Yeah. So
So if I go on my favorite music distributor,
yeah, there's stuff on yeah, it's in all of the digital places, but we actually recently put together a 12-inch as well.
oh,
So
cool.
just a short run of, like, I think we printed 200. We collaborated with a promoter and a little record label
They
in
all
Warwick.
gone.
No, no. We've sold a fair amount. We've sold dozens, but we've got a fair way to go to sell them
Well,
all.
keep
It's
one for
it's
me, and I'll pay for it. It's just that, yeah, put one aside.
oh yeah, grand. I mean, I'll happy to send you one. Yeah,
Yeah,
fantastic. Um, yeah, I think you'd like it because it's in terms of the songwriting, but also in terms of the production. It's very just, you can tell that it's come out of an environment of, let's just play the stuff that we want to play
yeah.
and mess
Well,
around and come up with weird shit. And I know that you're into some weird shit when it comes to music, and also stuff which is aesthetically quite like the sort of things we do as well, I think. um
excellent.
yeah and
So
and
didn't
but
you did a accessibility sort of to raise money like a cassette or some form of sort of collection, didn't you? For
yeah, like a compilation, yeah.
sorry, I'm eating these things.
What is that, knickknacks?
No, they're what's it crunchy? I can't.
They
Won't
really look
allow
like
me to.
knickknacks.
But
Yeah.
I don't. I'm from Australia, as I always say, and there's these things called twisties, And
Oh
this is
yeah.
like the reincarnation of them. So I really,
Okay, so this is nostalgic for you to have some.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
nice.
taste of something familiar. So
Was
yeah,
it
I
really,
get,
really? Was it
huh?
really, really cheesy? Because it looks
Mm.
like it's covered in like that cheese powder stuff. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, nice.
well, they're like Watsons, but they're hard. You know what
Yeah,
Watsons
that's why they're like knick-knack. In the UK, we had something called knick-knacks, like
are?
Niknaks.
Yeah,
And that
yeah.
was when I was in school. That's what I'd always used to get out of the vending machine. They had like a really, like very, very cheesy thing, which looked almost like that. And then they had like scampi and chips flavor or something.
Ooh,
And then some like hot thing, like some sort of barbecue rib, spicy something or other. Yeah.
I had the swallow. The swallow landed place on Friday, and
You had to do it.
he
You had to
has a
go with it.
rider. You know, like you have to get him certain things, and what he demanded was skips, unlimited amount of skips, and Dr Pepper. You know,
Wait, who's this? Dave Swallow?
yeah,
Oh, right.
he's a very demanding house guest. I'm
Where
telling
was
you
this? Was
that.
this like in Ali Toronto or something where
No,
he
no,
had a rider?
this was my house. You know,
Oh, I see.
before it enter,
He
I had to
came
have these
ahead.
gifts. You know, and also I was really pissed off with it because you can't see it, but you
Oh
can't.
no.
Oh, sorry, but it's a documentary about Flynn. Is it Michael Flynn?
Michael Flynn. Hmm.
I think. Well, it's got extended interviews with Tucker Carlson, Devon Nunes, and yeah, it is Michael Flynn, and it's got a little picture of Anyway, it's a documentary that I was sent.
Right.
No, no, you know, it's one of these things that you get randomly. I don't think it was supposed
So
to be.
the documentary about so these are all Fox News or they're like Republican related people, aren't
Flynn
they? Yeah.
was Flynn was like one of the he was high up in the intelligence community.
Oh, that's right. Wasn't he the one who started the whole lock her up chant?
He was
Like the
General Flynn, actually. And
right,
as
right.
President Donald Trump said, this must have been the old, you know, the 2016 version. I want to
Yeah.
thank General Flynn for being a very brave man who was absolutely tortured. He's stronger now than he ever was, and it took somebody very special to pull that off. Sounds like me. Sounds like you. Sounds like all of us.
I
Um,
yeah. I never thought I'd be able to say that I relate to General Flynn or whoever it
well, anyway,
is.
the point was that you know, the gift sharing, and I gave it to David. I said, "Yeah, take this with you, along with you can't see this. I've got a photo of it. There, look, George
Oh,
Kiosk,
George Kiosk. I got
George
it. George,
Kiosk,
I
and they're
saw
the
the
earplugs
medal.
for George Kiosk. Oh, no, he just left, and he's, you know, I felt like it was a slap in the face. That's all I was saying.
Yeah, he got like a documentary. He got the opportunity to be edified about
Yeah,
American politics,
exactly.
and you got some free earplugs,
Yeah,
and he got a load of Dr Pepper as well.
and skips.
Uh,
Which, yeah, anyway.
it
So,
feels like an uneven
going back to,
section.
sorry, off piece. Going back to your interest in music and
Oh, the album, the
stability and,
Ali,
yeah.
Ali Rocks, it was called, or A11Y Rocks, and yeah, it would the idea is it would raise money for like a good cause within related to accessibility, but it was the whole idea came from I think I was in Brighton at the time. I was at one of Jeremy Keefe's conferences in Brighton, but the
Always
idea
inspirational.
but the idea came from I suddenly realized how many people I knew who were working in accessibility who were also like
Musicians.
massive
Yeah.
on music and
Yeah.
either recorded their own music or were music fans, and it sort of made sense to bring those two things together. And we were talking a little bit the other day about Brother Cake, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so That's there. So it's James Edwards, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
should I? I'll. That reminds me. I wanted to get back to the Rose Gallery because
Oh, the Rogues Gallery.
we
Yeah,
only
yeah,
got halfway through last time. So what you'll notice also is that everything's become a lot smoother here than it used to be. It's my
yeah.
professionalism
I have
about.
noticed. I
Yeah,
that's I have
yeah, well,
noticed
that's
that.
the thing. It's the magic of you won't notice. Wait, there, share. There we go. All right. So we're
If
back
I
at the
if
fireside.
I great, yeah.
Can
So
you see it? But it's very small.
James, I believe, is in the middle there.
Yeah. Can you see it?
Yeah,
Is it big enough? Yeah. So that's
yeah, yeah.
James
That's fine.
Edwards.
So James reached like so. I did a sort of a call for papers, as it were, but for tracks.
Yeah.
Uh, and yeah, so James submitted this track called Tour de Force, and it was a sort of play on words because it was like a dance track, um, and all of the sort of the embellishments, all of the samples on top of like the basic rhythm were sounds from Star Wars,
Oh, really?
and yeah, and it's really good. Like I really enjoyed it. It really took me back to a sort of a time in the '90s when I was first getting into music, before all the heavy metal and everything.
Yeah.
I had a friend who used to record, like when we used to have pirate radio stations in and around London. I had a friend who lived in Letchworth, and he could pick up some of those stations where they did like drum and bass
Yep.
and like hardcore and that sort of stuff, like UK hardcore. If you say hardcore in the States, of course they think you mean punk. So yeah, it
Or
gets
porn.
confusing. You are?
Or porn, not to be confused with
Oh
hardcore
yeah,
porn.
on board. Yeah, exactly.
You can see
um,
where my mind goes.
yeah,
It's a cesspit.
yeah.
Um,
If you're looking for some porn and you get an American punk band, it's a deeply disappointing.
yeah. Well, that's what
Yeah,
Carl used to be in a hardcore band.
yeah, yeah,
Carl
yeah.
Rose,
That's
yeah.
right. Yeah.
Always remember
Um,
seeing this picture of him, and he looked like he was, would nut you before you'd said anything to him.
Yeah, I mean, he was. We've I've talked to Carl about this. I mean, he was very much in an anti-fascist punk band, but then he just looked hard. So it's difficult to tell the good ones apart from the bad ones.
Well,
Yeah,
I was talking to him the other day, had him on I haven't published it yet, but I remember the first time I met him at CSUN. This was like 2014, and he just started working for the TPG, and I saw him, and I thought he had tats all over his body. I thought he was bloody
Mm.
fascist, but
Well, as
that
long
was
as they're not
me.
swastikas, I suppose it's all right.
Yeah, I
If
didn't
it's not
know,
like Hello
but
Kitty or
once I
something,
talked to him, it was him and Billy. There was all like tattooed. Well, I was going to say tattooed lady, but they were the tattooed Billy, tattooed Billy, and
yeah.
tattooed Carl. But yeah,
Hmm.
so sorry, I was just.
No, no, you're right. No, so yeah, so this track James did was great. There was a lot of really good.
Is it still available?
I was trying to work that out. I found a post on my website about it. So if you type in like heydonworks.com, an album for accessibility, or I can't remember what I titled it, something like that, album accessibility as keywords, then it comes up and it's got the track listing on it, but it's it's just the track names. It doesn't link anywhere. So I think I can't think where I was selling it from now. It was probably a platform called Sells, selz.com, and that went under because I had to move like my book stuff off that as well.
I
Um,
think that
so yeah.
I'm pretty sure that I bought a copy at the time, but I can't remember in what format it was, or it's just probably MP3, but I can't remember.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I don't think I did. Yeah, I didn't do any physical stuff because that would have eaten into the money that I would have been able to donate to the charity. I think I donated it to NVDA in the end.
Yeah, yeah, I think so too.
I'm not. I I'm gonna be careful to say that I'm not 100% about that, but that was there was a bit of a vote about where it should go, and NVDA was one of the people that
As
came
long
up.
as you
Yeah.
didn't trouser it yourself. I mean,
Well, yeah, yeah.
well, even then, you know,
It went
shit
somewhere.
happens. Um,
Actually, it might have gone to a Parkinson's. I think some of it at least went to a Parkinson's charity because I have there's a close family friend who
yeah,
was part of the. They have Parkinson's and they were campaigning for it. And my grandfather had Parkinson's as well. So I think some of it went to that. And it was really like difficult to explain to them, like, oh, I've made some money for your charity, and this is how I've done it. Like I got some friends who work in this field who are musicians, and yeah, they were like, well, money's money, I suppose. Yeah, it's a bit
I'm sure.
convoluted.
I'm sure it was a vast seller. Um,
Hmm.
it wasn't David Donald. Didn't you have the Wayhag song on there as well?
Yes, yes, I did. Yeah, that is something else, that track, and the music video as well.
Yeah, I know. It's just it's product. Yeah,
It's so over the top. It's so funny. Like
yeah, it is. It is, but it's just it's kitsch, but it's just it's just a fucking great song. You know, it's
it's
like
yeah,
it's really
it's
rock and roll. It's really like it's got
yeah,
every cliche, but it somehow manages to make it fresh. And uh,
yeah,
I got
yeah. It's
into
really catchy.
listening to parts of it at half speed. This is how desperate my life is. But it actually because there's this band called Vanilla Fudge. I don't know if you've
Oh
ever
yeah, I
heard
know
of it.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what they did songs that they really slowed everything down and they had big massive organ and
Mm.
stuff. But it just
There's a
reminded me of that.
yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah, I know. I'm just thinking that there was another track on there which because that was one of two tracks which actually had like synthetic voice output on it, and the other one was what's his name? Um, that the track was called "Man with Small T" or something like that, and it was because it was basically they'd taken the output from a screen reader reading a page that was badly formatted or badly marked up,
Right.
and was producing nonsense, but then just set it to music. And that was a genius idea, I thought, and it's that again surprisingly works well as a track, and it's really fun to listen
You
to.
can't remember who it's by.
It begins with a T. Uh, I can
Doesn't
find
matter.
it on my website
Yeah, that's
because I've got the list of all the tracks
fine.
all the tracks at a certain point that came in anyway.
Yes.
Um,
So just to get back to James a little bit. So James has been someone
mm,
who's been around forever. I remember when I was back when I was well, I wasn't young, but I was you know younger, and I was publishing my first article with on Jez Lemon's site, Jez Studio, which was one of the
mm,
best at the time. We did. We're talking about 2002, 2003. And
yeah.
I co-wrote an article about Ajax the screenreaders, which was a hot topic at the time. And I just remember Jess saying, "We've got to get this out before James does," because James was very hot on similar subjects at the time.
Mhm.
And then he disappeared for a while. Then he turned back up. I know he worked for Carl Groves for a while, and then he came and worked as I managed him. I was managing for like 3 or 4 years, along with Rick
Mm,
Johnston and Hans Hillen. And he was just technical. He was writing articles and working
mm.
on the TPG knowledge base. But I've just always been and will always be highly impressed by his technical ability. He's also
Yeah.
just to explain things in plain language and
Well, that's the hard bit. That's much harder than actually having the technical know-how. Like
yeah,
it's very frustrating when someone, a developer, that they've got very high aptitude, but then they're very difficult to work with because their way of communicating is. I find quite often that there'll be people who they'll assume they'll assume that you implicitly already understand them, that they don't
yeah,
have to make the effort to actually kind of
and that's
uh,
really annoying.
unwrap things. Um, yeah, and that can be really annoying. And But yeah, so when you have someone who has the know-how, but they're also able to kind of like break it down into simple terms, then that's rare and is really good. Yeah, I
Yeah.
always
So, and
admire
there's
people like
I'm going to do a collection of James's articles that he published on at TPG because there's some really good stuff there. And
that. I really love James's website. Anyway, I'm just looking it up again now.
I didn't even know he had a website. I'll have to have a look.
Yeah, it's it's a personal.
Yeah, because I know that
Uh,
he
site.
writes as well. He writes music he's made music. He writes books. He does game. Like he's just a real, brainiac. Unlike myself, he's similar to you.
Yeah, and
Is
I'm like
you're
this.
multi-talented.
Well,
Anyway, moving swiftly on from James. Do you know
yeah.
the person next to James? You don't?
No, I don't actually.
That's
No.
Lola Odalola.
Oh, okay. Where
Yeah,
did they work?
I don't
Was it?
know. Lola's done it. She's got her own, or they have their own Wikipedia page. There's quite. She,
Oh,
she did this thing called Black Doll's Code or something
oh, yeah,
nature.
yeah.
Yeah, but now she's well. We Tetralogical, who my company that I work
Mm.
for and partly own, we support Lola because she's on the technical architecture group at the W3C, which is the boffins,
Oh, okay.
the people that you know that make arguments and advise on
Specify stuff.
strategy of the the building of the World Wide Web, the continuing development. Lots
Mm.
of interesting people. There's a Meet the Technical Architecture group, Meet Tag at um, Samsung in town on Wednesday. So it's,
Mm.
question and answer thing. I'm going to go along. I don't know if I can go to these things, but I
The
thought,
technical architecture is like that's like the sort of the real super technical kind of like
yeah,
underpinning
the underpinning,
technology
yeah.
stuff.
I mean, put it this
Yeah.
way, it was originally headed by Tim Berners-Lee, and it was those,
Right.
yeah, there's the sort of people that there's Tess O'Connor, there's some really interesting people. Lola's on the tag, so is Matthew Atkinson,
Oh, that's what tag. That yes,
yeah,
I've picked that
Dan
up.
Dan
Yeah. When people say
Applequist, I
tag,
think
that's what they're talking about.
is the or Applequist, Applequist. I always think,
Mm.
whenever I think of his name, I always think of Rehnquist, which is a totally different name. But anyway, uh, so
End of the
yeah,
quiz.
so I'm going to go there. And Lola's doing lots of good work. She's also spearheading the accessibility compatibility data sort of development. So what she's trying to do is, how you got, can I use stuff and the web platform tests that
Mm.
have lots of data. She's trying to get accessibility related information included. So, as
Oh,
Rob
cool.
states property stuff. So I've been attending meetings about that,
Yeah,
like we
yeah.
just talked Chris at the moment. And Cynthia Shelley's also involved, and Eric. I was going to say Eric Banner. You ever seen? You ever seen Chopper?
Incredible Hulk.
Oh no, he plays Chopper Headon, the mad Australian.
I know you mean Chopper. Yeah.
Yeah, he cut his own ears off to get out of
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So that's Chopper. He's Chopper Reed to me. Did he change his
Yes,
name?
that's his name, or Chopper Reed. Yeah.
Okay, okay, yeah.
Sorry, yeah. But anyway, if Eric Banner
Uncle Chop Chop,
plays,
he calls himself in the film. Play with he's played by Eric. Yeah, Eric Banner,
yeah,
right? Yeah,
it's a great
that's right.
film. I
Yeah,
really, I really
Uncle
like
Chop Chop.
it. I he he's dead now, but he did this
Yeah.
series of artworks that was like a reimagination of the Ned Kelly type. You, you know, sort of Ned Kelly with the bucket on his head. But he did some
Mm.
artwork and like that, and I should have bought. I was in Melbourne at the time that he was selling them. I should have bought one, but I didn't. Of course, so now I've just got the memory of it. Um, anyway, let's move on from Lola. Lola's cool. I caught up with her at the State of the Browser, as with many other people, but that was really nice to see.
It's good to have someone who's involved with the tag at State
Yeah.
of the Browser. Yeah, yeah, that's really
Well, there
cool. It
were a
sounds like
number
they're
of,
doing
there
some
were
really cool
three or
stuff.
four of them. But
I actually, before we move on to the next person, it's probably worth me saying, just since this is uh, sort of loosely around accessibility, but also the web and everything in general. I sometimes think to myself about how maybe I might want to be involved more in doing like standards related stuff, and
yeah,
doing stuff with W3C. And it occurs to me that most people doing that work are doing it on a voluntary basis, and
yeah,
then
definitely.
and then a very few people are actually elected to have a certain position where
Yeah.
they sort of work for the W3C or what have you. Yeah. Um, so yeah, I'm I'm not sure if there's much I can offer in many ways, but it
Well,
feels like
I mean, the
something I've always
barriers
wanted
to
to.
entry are pretty low, Hayden. I mean, there's issues that on GitHub, and you can just respond to an issue. I mean, it's
Yeah.
easy to get sucked in, but there's some really interesting discussions that occur. And
So you're saying that it just snowballs from you start by just commenting on stuff on GitHub or whatever,
yeah,
and then eventually you'll end up going to a meeting or being invited to a meeting or whatever, that sort of thing. Yeah, I've
it's
never quite understood how
like a
it sort of
cult.
evolved into an occupation. Yeah, yeah,
No, well, I don't. I don't think it. Very few people actually evolve into an occupation. Some people that I've talked to on here have worked at W3C. Eric Agate worked
I was
in
going to say,
the
yeah,
initiative.
do they no longer work? They work with Mozilla now, do they? I think.
Eric works for Access Lab.
Oh, right. Okay, I've got that
Agate.
completely wrong.
This
Yeah,
is it. Yeah, and also he
I remember they
agrees.
worked uh, with the W3C before that. Yeah.
Yeah. So what are you saying? But yeah, but I mean, I encourage anyone to at least dip their toes in. You've got to be careful that you don't, because it can be all consuming. After many years of
Yeah.
doing it, I tend to hang back a lot, because there's just people that just want to soak up all the oxygen in the room and
Yeah, this is part of the reason why I'd find it really difficult, I think. I mean, I've seen how how like arduous it can be for folks like Patrick, because Patrick's involved quite heavily, right? Because
yeah,
they want to bring their expertise in and influence things the right way, and I think that's all,
well,
very very noble, but it takes its toll, I think, doesn't it? Because there
yeah,
are, as you
yeah.
say, a lot of the people involved are just people who just want to, put their personal mark on something, or
What I
they
would
just have
say
very
is you've got to
unfitting
choose
opinions, I
your
suppose.
working groups carefully, and you choose and make judicious use of your time. I mean, I was there was a backlog, WCAG 2 backlog meeting every Friday afternoon, where they go through and triage. There's if anybody raises an issue on one of the understanding documents or whatever, the WCAG then it gets triaged and sometimes changes are made. Patrick has essentially been working away with others. Obviously, there was like thousands of issues, and now it's down to about 400 on
Mm,
the WCAG. And what I was impressed by was that it's a smallish group that work on the backlog, really good high quality people involved, and the
mm.
amount of um, oxygen eaters is minimal. So,
Oh, okay, yeah. So it
but
is a question of just like choose your friends wisely, sort of thing.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
Some of the groups are kind of they've just evolved into a more toxic state than others, I suppose.
yeah. Well, I mean, WCAG 3, the exceptional guidelines working group. I wouldn't say it's toxic, but it's just I applaud the chairs because you've got to have the patience of whoever who's got a lot of patience. Who do they? It's
A
like
saint, some sort of saint, yeah,
yeah,
patient
you've got to be
saint,
say
yeah,
like in yeah, but also you've got to in order to actually get positive movement forward movement in the process, you've got to put your put your foot down at times and work with people.
yeah,
It's all about
yeah.
consensus, but the concept of consensus um, is hazy for some people. They think that means that unless they get their way, that
Yeah, yeah.
and it's not that it doesn't work like that. So it's, yeah, I mean,
I
it's
mean,
just
this is I've been in meetings with socialist political parties which suffer from the same problem, right?
mm,
Like in it is a very good thing to have like radically democratic institutions
yeah,
like that, but they are really hard to manage as well. So yeah, reaching consensus by making sure that everyone is enfranchised and that everyone gets their say, but don't have the opportunity to become a demagogue and kind of override everyone else. And
exactly, yeah.
the whole process takes up so much of the energy, right? And
Well, yeah,
just managing
definitely.
the process, no matter what it's heading towards. So yeah, I've always found that quite difficult. Yeah.
It's a hard task, but I mean, if yeah, for example, one of the things that I do is that I observe and listen to the arguments and the agwag and the on the wake, and then I see issues come up on GitHub that are related to wake, and I just sort of share them around, and then that gets people like Eric, who doesn't normally get involved that much in the
Mm.
he will make a comment on it and think on an issue. So you get positive
Mm.
you know, input from people, and
Yeah.
really, I like it needs to um, have as wide a range of input as possible. And usually, the people like Eric have, they have strong opinions, but also they have good, positive input to provide. So, I would urge you
Yeah.
to do the same. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
um,
Yeah. Oh, I was going to say there was one thing that I was asked to be involved. Well, the one thing that I did contribute via you was the illustration of the croco duck, of course.
yes, yes.
Yeah, I don't think that's there anymore, probably.
Well,
But
it is still there. It's still
oh,
in
is
the
it? Oh,
original.
okay.
But see, if you go to the HTML5 spec, it automatically directs you to the WhatWG spec, which is fine because I understand why.
Mm,
But
mm.
if you actually, there is a URL for the original publication of the HTML5 spec and 5.2, 5.1, and you can still access W3C versions. But also,
Right.
I'm pretty sure that I I recreated the alt advice that was in the I updated it and just made it into a
Yeah.
blog post. And I'm pretty sure I've got the croco duck in that as well.
Oh, right. Okay. Nice. It's actually one of the few drawings. Like I semi-hand drew that. I'm actually not much of an artist in that sense. But I sat sometime and actually kind of drew it from scratch,
Yeah.
which yeah, as I say, is something that I don't often do. So it's a very unusual little artifact for a number of reasons.
Well,
Um,
it's nice to
yeah.
have something preserved in
Exactly. Yeah,
the
I'm
annals of the
very much
World
like
Wide
that.
Web. Yeah.
I think that's kind of that's sort of my approach to things in a lot of ways. I mean, there's sort of mainstays in my life like the music and stuff like that, but generally if it's like I can do this once or do this one thing which is in that world, then that's enough for me. Like I'll move on and I want to try something else. So
Yeah.
in a way, it's like after that, I thought, oh, that's cool. That means there's something I've contributed to
I'll put
occasion.
the link on this when I publish it, so you can
Yeah,
you
cool.
can
Yeah,
you can find it, but it's definitely there. It's preserved there.
about composite images, isn't it? That's why it was a croco duck, because it was
Yeah,
like you'd have alt text for the croco part and the
yeah. It was like
alt
Tickly's
text for the ducko part.
Tickly's his feathers or something like that. Yeah,
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
but
So the other
cool.
thing I was going to say is the only other involvement I've had very recently is I believe it's Alex Russell reached out to me because they were doing this ARIA notify thing.
Oh
Have
yeah,
you come
yeah,
across that?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and they were looking for people to weigh in uh, from around the accessibility world, I suppose. And the suggestion that I made was that this would be a declarative, or like a, how would you say it, like a procedural way of using live region. So you'd be able
Yeah.
to use a like live region kind of stuff, but directly in JavaScript, just say something now sort of thing.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, my suggestion, which they did include in the, not as part of the like how it would be programmed, but in the kind of guidance, the normative stuff, was about how I think this thing should allow for being able to re-listen to notifications,
Right.
because the problem with live
Yeah.
reading
It's
all the
one
time is
shot.
that,
It's gone.
yeah, you hear it, you might not even realize it's from a live region. You might think it was something else going on. You wouldn't know where it's coming from. You wouldn't
Yeah.
necessarily know where to go and find a message if it was still visibly on screen. So the idea that it was, yeah, so I think what they wrote into it was to say to vendors, like the manufacturers of the screen readers, that it's recommended that you provide shortcuts or provide functionality that allows you to replay past notifications
Oh
and
yeah.
like go back through old ones. And yeah, I think that would be a worthwhile addition, because otherwise you've got to try and sort of discover it in the markup somewhere. And if it's a pure JavaScript notification, then that problem's exacerbated because it's not necessarily in the markup at all, is it? So
So is that
yeah,
ARIA notifier is in the process of being implemented, as I understand it. So
okay, good.
um, so moving swiftly on from Lola, do you know who the
Yeah,
person is next to Lola?
I'd like to say that
I'd like to say Mr. Tumble.
the minimal clown makeup is putting me off. But actually, I have a feeling I do, but I wouldn't be able
Well,
to know.
it's Mr. Tumble from CVVs. That's who it is.
Is it really?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I'd say that Dr. Swallow asked me to put it on. He says he loves Mr. Tumble.
I don't have young children, so
Well, yeah. If you do,
or anything.
you know Mr. Tumble. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
an annoying kid.
The next person along is also from CBBS, right?
You're talking about Bruce, the cartoon
Imagine
punk.
if Bruce was on
It
CBBS.
could be. He's got a wonderful
Oh,
speaking
he's
voice.
got the charisma for it too.
Yeah.
Like,
I
he'd
saw
also
Bruce
be
at Stay at the
very
Browser. It was good to see him. He was in fine form.
mm,
Um, yeah, Stay at the Browser. You'll want to say a few words about it. It's a great community conference. It's good that
yeah,
it's one day, so it's you don't have to be hanging around there. The
yeah.
speakers were great this year, and there was a really good vibe. And they had Jake Archibald doing the MC, and he was good.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
Yeah,
cool.
but like you know,
Well, Dave normally does it himself, doesn't he?
yeah. I mean, he does it fine. I'm not saying it's just
Yeah,
that.
yeah. No, he
Yeah,
must have made a conscious decision to change it up then,
yeah,
I suppose.
yeah. He
Yeah,
got just to help him out. I mean, it's because he's
yeah,
doing other things. But yeah, Dave was definitely present. He was just that he got Jake. But they, the um, the speakers they had were like quite a few browser engineers, and it was really good to actually have uh,
mm,
you know, front end developers and browser developers all being in the same place and
I
talking.
think that should happen more often. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
definitely.
CSS days become a bit like that.
I've never been. Hey,
Yeah,
that's what
no,
I wanted to ask you about. You did a talk in not Amsterdam, Netherlands last year for this. It
the
was
NCDT people.
yes, yes.
Yeah, that's right.
What
Yeah,
was that
yeah,
like?
that was lovely. It was. I mean, I always loved going to the Netherlands anyway. Like, yeah, so
Yeah,
CA is Amsterdam based. They weren't in Amsterdam. They were in
Utrecht or somewhere like that.
no, it was a little place I'd not been to before. It was beautiful. And we stayed in this hotel that looked like something out of like a David Lynch film or something.
Oh, really? Well, yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, it was like
I've
very.
been invited to speak this year through
Oh,
Heydon.
okay.
It's
No, you'll
Heydon's
be well
doing
looked
something.
after. They are really nice. They're really good. They look after you well.
Yeah.
And great, really responsive audience as well.
Oh, good.
I did a talk, but they also got me to do like a couple of like workshops in the
Oh, cool.
afternoon, which was it was like a workshopping around my talk, if you sort of mean.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I've not done anything like that, and I had no time to really prepare anything, but everyone was just very engaged, and it was really good. It sort of re-infused me a little bit about the work, the work generally, doing stuff in the field of digital accessibility. Yeah, it was one of those kind of conferences where you walk away from it feeling kind of energized.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think
Well,
you're
it's,
right.
yeah, I think that was so a similar sort of effect that State the browser had on quite a few people, which
Yeah,
is great.
yeah. State of the Browser is one of my definitely like top three conferences that I've ever spoken at or been to.
Yeah.
Um, but I also delivered my favorite talk that I've ever delivered there. Which there's a video of it somewhere, and it's oh, I can't remember the name of the talk now. Oh yeah, so the talk was about how I did that thing on my website, which you probably saw, where I did the reversal of how when you turn off JavaScript, it breaks your website. I had it so that you can read the content on my website, but only if you have JavaScript turned off.
Oh,
And
right.
so if you visit it with JavaScript on, there's a little message at the top of the screen um, that says, please turn off JavaScript to view this site, right?
Right.
And it was the talk was just all about um, the responses that I got to this and how angry it made people,
Really?
and how people people didn't seem to understand that this was sort of satirizing the reverse set of circumstances.
Yeah.
And so
Satire
what I was saying,
doesn't sit well with a lot of people.
yeah, I mean, we live in a world where people don't seem to understand kind of like artistic,
Yeah.
like performed uh, kind of messages, where the idea is that there's some degree of irony or there's some sort of nuance or whatever. And yeah, so lots of people are saying, well, what you've done is just as bad as what people do when you can't access the
Yeah.
website when you turn JavaScript off. And I was like, yes, I know. That's what I'm doing. Like that's the point of it, right? Yeah, and so I anonymized all of these people as different Pokemon and had their like the Twitter messages they'd sent
Right.
me. And it was it the this whole thing became this huge thing on the front page of Hacker News as well,
Oh,
Y
really?
Combinator or whatever. Yeah, it got to the top of Hacker News. Someone posted it. Just here's a website. It's kind of interesting that you can't view it unless you. And then the it's still there somewhere. But if you look it up on Hacker News, just the discourse, if you can call it that, in that stream is extraordinary. There's a lot of people who are they're just trying to reverse engineer it. So they're spending a lot of time trying as hard as they can to view my content without turning JavaScript off.
Oh,
So
really?
they're trying to get around my little like
Yeah.
gatekeeping thing. And then there's lots of people who are accusing me of being a fascist and stuff, which is, you know, the standard thing that happens.
Yeah.
It became this joke about how someone called me a micro totalitarian, which is not a an expression I'd heard before. So I guess a totalitarian, but in small ways, which to me seems like, you know, a sort of a contradiction in terms. But
Yeah.
that was quite serious. That they were, you know, what you're doing here. You think it's, you know, you're doing like good trouble or whatever, but
But
you're
you're
actually, you're just
really just
evil.
an asshole.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, standard sort of hacker news
So
sort of conversation.
I'm going to have to move you along because we're not going to get.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We've already been an hour, and there's still a few questions I wanted to pose to you, or things, topics.
Yeah,
So
of course.
after Bruce, yeah, well, you know, what more can you be said about Bruce? He likes to hog the hog the limelight. Um,
Yeah,
he,
he's
yeah,
sort of a diva. I think he'd be the first person to say he's a diva, but he does fantastic conference talks, and
he
I've
does, yeah.
always really enjoyed hanging out with Bruce when we've been at the same, you know, in the same place, which is usually a conference. We were in Hong Kong together at one point.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because Karis Ruder, who used
Ah,
to
yeah, I
organise
remember her. Yeah,
Frontiers, she moved to Hong Kong and then she put on this webconf.asia,
right.
and Bruce and I were invited to speak there, and it worked out for me because, of course, my wife is Chinese, so we
Yep.
flew into Hong Kong and then we moved up into mainland China to visit her parents and stuff. But I have very fond memories of hanging out with Bruce there. We had a really good time. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I
He's
went.
an original. He's a very unique person, and I mean that in the
Yeah,
nicest possible
unique
way.
wanker. That's what I like to call him. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I went in 2010. He and I did a tour of Australia. It was organised by some
Oh,
Australian thing, Australian web web standards thing, and it was.
hmm.
I think Ricky had a hand in it, and also a guy called Roger. Can't remember his name. Accessory guy, Roger something. Anyway,
Roger. Yeah.
yeah. Funnily enough, he lives in Erskineville. I think no, not in Erskineville, in Marrickville, in Sydney, and on the same
Oh,
street as good friends of mine. So yeah.
I mean, in
Anyway,
such a big place, that's actually quite unexpected, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. These things happen. Yeah, things happen. So
Hmm.
anyway, so yeah, Bruce. Who we got there next? Eric
So
Bailey.
that's Eric Bailey.
Yeah,
I know
he's
Eric. Yeah,
yeah. Eric's a really nice guy. He's very sincere,
he's one of the
earnest.
nicest people I've ever met, I think. But
Yeah,
also, just he's a good combination of being extremely nice, but like he's so intelligent and passionate and so good at what he
yes,
does.
yes,
Very, very thoughtful and kind of like really thinks about how he communicates things. Another person who's a great communicator.
yeah. And he's good
Um,
looking too. That's why I hate him. Um,
yeah, yeah, I know. Yeah, it's true. I mean,
the
I actually met Eric in real life in Toronto when you were there
yeah,
as well. It was for the you know, so everyone, you know, Carl and Billy and everyone were there too. And I think that was the only time we actually spoke face to face. But you know, we've sort of messaged backwards and forwards a lot back in the day.
yeah. He's very
Yeah.
active, and you know he's got his finger in many pies, and obviously he's currently working with GitHub. He's doing a great job there, and um, so people think
Oh, right. Okay. There,
yeah.
GitHub. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
He was at GitHub. I Dennis Lemley was at GitHub as well, and Carrie Fisher and some
Oh,
other
yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've got a good team, but you know, as always, big corporations, big accessibility troubles.
Well,
Uh,
yeah, they'll be up against it, but yeah. Um,
so
they
talking
did
about
do some good stuff.
yeah, talking about somebody else who's not so handsome, but is
Hmm.
very good looking. Sorry, talking about Adrian.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Adrian Roselli.
Yeah, and he
Um,
was there at State of the Browser. It was really nice because I had the opportunity to catch up with him, and we had breakfast on the Sunday. And he's one of people I feel close to in this world.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think Adrian, in many ways, I think of him in a similar way as Eric, in that they're both kind of relentlessly committed to
To themselves, yes.
helping,
Yeah.
helping
Oh,
and
yeah.
producing. I mean, in Adrian's case, especially, like Adrian's blog it just covers so much
Yeah.
Of everything accessibility or everything web accessibility, and it's one of those places where I find myself more frequently than probably any other independent blog.
So do the
When I'm
AI,
looking at something up.
the LLM harvesting machines, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah.
He's wearing a loserweight t-shirt, and
Oh yeah, we talked about this before.
oh,
I
did
think
we?
with the
Yeah,
arms on it. Yeah, we
yeah.
made it about.
The arms of the swallow. Yes.
So in
He
that,
asked me to make that for him, which I did. But
there
so
was.
and next up is
I don't know. Very stylish look, I have to say.
yes. Hold on. I'm really bad because now I've forgotten who that person, the name of them. Like I
We'll
do.
cut this part.
So I'm just going to go and check my. It's fucking Crystal Bresson Watson. I should have known.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Sorry, that was
I,
it's. My brain just freezes, and suddenly I can't talk. I can't remember anybody's name.
yeah, no, I'm
Just
very much
after I've
the
been telling you how professional and slick I am these days.
same.
So yeah, so we had she was on they were on the fireside chat, and I just noticed that they'd been doing because they were doing some sort of online conference. It was just them called Crystal Magic or something. I can't remember what it's called, but
Crystal
I'll have
Magic,
to
nice.
check it out.
Mm,
And next up, lastly but not leastly,
Makoto.
Makoto. So yeah, so Makoto, was it because he was pictured in the last episode that he said no, it was with Matt May, was it? Anyway, he was thanking me and some other person or something. Oh, but
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no. I did mention Makoto because they did me a real solid with. So the principles of accessibility thing that I released, that I stuck on GitHub,
yep,
that was the reason I was then invited to speak at the NCDT and do
right,
like a talk about it.
yep,
Makoto, they actually went and translated those principles into Japanese.
oh
Um,
really,
but not only did they translate them into Japanese, but they actually pulled together a whole team of people
wow,
who contributed to the translation. So there was like 7 or 8 people. Um,
wow,
there's I showed, like, because they released it. They like announced that they'd done this translation on Twitter, and I'm not really on Twitter anymore. But I think we spoke about it on LinkedIn or somewhere like that. But yeah, there's a list of names, and I do include that in the talk so that people get the proper credit and everything. But there's no way
yeah.
I'd be able to remember them now, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, just said, "Would you like a Japanese translation?"
He's
And went away
yeah.
and just nailed it. But yeah, it's in
He's
that
been
those
a force
principles
in
are in.
accessibility since like he translated Mike Paciello's seminal tome, which is called something,
Oh, okay, wow,
into Japanese, 20 odd years ago. So
yeah, okay.
I've known Makoto for yonks. He's a great
He's one
guy.
of those people where he's very, I don't know how he's very naturally kind of droll. Like he's
Yeah,
just very, very funny, you know, like
yeah,
deliberately funny.
yes.
But just makes me laugh all the time, you know.
Well,
I
whenever
remember
I take photos of him, like at just with TO, I've got him and Billy and him and his wife Junko um
mm.
and but they're always doing this sort of, that sort of
Yeah,
these sort of style stuff was
yeah.
cool. But yeah,
Yeah.
he's always really nice. I actually I'll show you this. This is he gave it to the see.
Oh, is it like a out of a photo booth?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's from fuck it. I'll put it on. He gave it to me uh, last time I saw him in Tokyo, but it was from 2013. It was from a photo booth at CSUN
Mm.
in the bad old days. So it was yeah, it was really nice of him to give me this because I didn't have any pictures or I had a picture of me and Rich Swerkwagger, but I didn't have any of with them.
Yeah. Now I was just thinking that Makoto was at that Ali Toronto conference as well. Like
Yeah,
it was. So me, Eric, Makoto, obviously, like Billy and Johnny and everyone, we're all
that
there.
was yeah.
Yeah,
That was
that was a
that the
good time.
same one that Pat was at as well? Because Pat was there one year.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. No, Patrick would have been there as
Yeah,
well. Yeah, I believe so.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was a
I
real
think Patrick went a couple of times, I think.
monsters of accessibility type
Yeah, because I'd been
situation.
to Toronto previously to do the kind of meetup thing, or like, so Fan and I were gonna go. We wanted to sort of visit Canada anyway. But then yeah, there was this. It was the meetup version, but then a couple of years later, it was then the full conference.
Yeah,
I spoke at the meetup, and then I later was at the conference.
you
Yeah.
should make the journey this year. I try to go every year. I want to go this year.
Mm,
I just like it's a great place. It's not America,
yeah,
so
yeah.
Toronto's a great town, and there's usually some really good speakers. I mean, last year
Mm.
for me, Eric Bailey was a highlight. I really enjoyed his. Like, I tend to get really bored really quickly and sort of like start shuffling around and doing things and just leave. Um, but I actually sat through all of his presentation because it was compelling and really well
Yeah,
done.
that's actually that. I mean, when at conferences when they're like 40 or 45-minute length talks, that's actually a lot of time.
It is.
I usually need to get up and have a pee. So yeah, so that is I quite like conferences when they take the length down a little bit and squeeze
Well,
a few more people in,
that's
you
what I
know.
liked about State of the Browser. It was some that was 20, 30, and 40 was the longest. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think it works because if someone's an interesting person, then you can have them back again. But they pack their talks really well. If it's a bit
Mm.
dull, then you don't have to sit through hours or a
You
long
got plenty
period.
of breaks that way then as
Yeah,
well,
you've
haven't
got
you?
plenty of breaks, and that's another good thing about SOTP is that they have the break room, which is a really cool area.
Mm.
It's like a hanging garden or something. I mean,
Oh yes, I know. Yeah,
the
they
Barbican
have
is
it in
just
that
is an amazing
Barbican
building.
now, don't
Yeah,
they?
it's
Yeah,
like being inside a living organism. Um,
yeah,
so
yeah,
we did finally get through all of the Rose
yeah.
Gallery.
Going
Now,
well.
so what I wanted to touch upon was, well, we talked about your music, talked about
Mm.
James, we talked about um, the thing is with you, Hayden, is you're so multi-talented. You just do all this shit, like your web brief videos. I showed one of the web brief videos to my daughters the other day.
Oh,
But
really?
yeah, it was the one about being binary or non-binary.
Oh, yeah, yeah, cool. Yeah.
And that sort of segues into my other question for you is that you mentioned
Mm,
previously in our previous conversation that you were came out as non-binary. Is that the right
yeah,
term?
yeah.
What does it mean to you? I mean, it's interesting to me because you're Hayden and that's who you are, and
Well, that I mean, I think you've that really is the best. I mean, I don't think I could explain it any better than that. I came to realize after, I suppose that after it had been sort of in the back of my mind for years, that I just wanted to be seen as being an individual, as being me, just being Hayden, like you just said, right?
yeah,
And I didn't really want to have to conform to other people's manufactured ideas of how you should behave if you're born,
Hayden,
physically male,
yeah. So
and
how does that actually affect your behaviour? Do you think does it? And what do you do differently because you don't feel constrained by the gender norms?
well, I suppose that's the thing is that I never did that much, if you sort of mean. Like I'm not,
Yeah,
I wasn't like a performatively masculine person. I never was that person. But so it wasn't a huge transition in that sense. But it was more just like coming to terms with this idea that I'm allowed to just say, actually, I'm not. I'm just be vocal about. I'm not interested in any of that shit, basically.
yeah,
and and I suppose part of it was part of the reason I hadn't done that sooner is because I suppose I had an idea of being non-binary. I think a lot of people make the same mistake, which is you think of non-binary as being somewhere between like
yeah,
a man and a woman, right? Like, but that's more androgynous. Like, that's a different thing. But the umbrella for non-binary is huge, and it involves people who are sort of kind of feel a bit like maybe like you have like a demi boys, which is like where you kind of feel like you're masculine, but only some of the time and only a bit,
yeah,
or only in a small way, or um, and then you have so what I discovered that I am, I think the best way of describing what I am is agender, which
right,
is so I'm not sort of somewhere, I'm not non-binary in the sense that I don't I'm somewhere in between on the scale. I
yeah,
literally just I'm opting out like and the person actually who invented the flag, the agender flag, which is like a black, grey, white, well, it's got black and grey and white and green in it, which is great because I like black and white. And if I was going to choose a color I liked, it would be green. So, I mean, I think a lot of people, like I know at least one person who's like, well, they're trans, and they just wish that they didn't have to have that fucking stupid looking flag. It's
yeah,
like baby blue and pink. Like I don't want that.
yeah, yeah,
But you get what you get. But uh, but yeah, the person who actually created the flag, they described their sense of being agender as being like a gender atheist. Like
yeah.
it is
Gotcha,
a
gotcha.
it is a manufactured, or
Yeah,
it is a performed
a belief system in a way. Yeah,
created thing,
yeah,
and you can, yeah, exactly, and so you can just say, well, I don't believe in this. I don't,
yeah,
because I suppose I always thought that it had to be one of the reasons I thought, well, I guess I'm cis, but I'm just reluctant. I suppose was my position before. I didn't realize how cognitive it could be. Like it could just be you could just decide this isn't for me, rather than it having to be something you sort of feel in your bones, if you
yeah,
sort of mean. Because I think I felt like it was only legitimate for me if there was some sort of form of dysphoria or something, which was something that was very physiological.
yeah,
And no, it can. I mean, your brain is part of your body anyway, and there's that relationship anyway. But yeah, it just occurred to me that um, I've never drawn a sense of identity or
yeah,
a sense of belonging from masculinity, from mannishness or whatever you want to call it. And so I just wanted to be like open and vocal about that, because I think, the more people who talk about it, the more opportunity there is for other people to go, oh, hey, actually, I think that's me too. Um, so yeah, I haven't been that engaged in sort of being like talking from the rooftops or anything like that. But it has given me this extra sense of just, well, at least I now I'm open about who I actually am and how I feel,
Yeah,
which has
right.
made me feel a bit better about things. And I also just like, it's this, I have this superpower now, which is like, if someone says to me, like when you get guys will have this expectation of you being as like very guy-like and very blokish,
Yeah,
and they'll sort of intimate sexist jokes at you and stuff like that, because that's their way of pallying around. And it's like, I've never identified or wanted to be part of any of that, but now it's like, oh, if someone says to you, like, oh, be a man about it or something like that, and I say, well, I wouldn't know how because I'm non-binary,
yeah,
rather than
that's cool.
saying,
Yeah,
that's just insulting. It's better to, but it is funny though that, like, in my experience anyway, like when I was growing up, I was always considered kind of like not so much effeminate, but just like not one of the guys, I suppose. So
yeah,
it was never, not like a typical guy blokey thing. Like, a lot of girls thought that I was gay because I wasn't acting the way that they expect guys to. I didn't know how to. And it's funny that, thinking back around those sort of times, there was always this expectation or this demand, like, you should be more of a man, or you should be more like this. But then when you actually raise your hand up and go, actually, the reason I'm not like that is because I'm non-binary. I'm not a man. That's not how I see myself. Then they'll turn around and go, oh no, you are a man. You can't. That's not a thing being that. So they try and have it
yeah.
both ways. You know. So, but yeah, just
Yeah,
saying, like, I'm not interested. I'm
it's not
non-binary.
something that well, I've never been in one. Like, if somebody, a guy will come to you, or will come to you, and they'll say, oh, when you start talking about football or something, and,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I'm Australian, they talk about cricket, and I always feel a bit uncomfortable with it. But I always say, I've got no interest in football or cricket.
No, I never have either. Yeah.
I mean, I did have for a while because both my daughters play football, so I love to go and watch
Mm.
them. But beyond that,
But you have then you have like a vicarious interest, don't you?
yeah,
Like, if you know someone who's excited by it, then you're sort of excited for them. And
yeah,
I'm a bit like that with I'm a bit funny enough, I'm a bit like that with trans folks, right?
yeah.
Because they're still excited about the idea of gender and wanting to transition, literally go from one place to the other. And I'm here for that. I'm totally here for that. But it can only ever be like a vicarious thing, because I just don't understand it myself. Like, I
So you
don't
don't feel a
understand.
desire to physically transform your body in any way?
No,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. It's enough for me to just think, well, I don't necessarily always, like, I don't come across particularly masculine or anything, and I like that, because that sort of fits with me a little bit. But I'm going to keep wearing clothes made for boys, because
yeah,
that's my body shape,
yeah.
for the most part.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
I mean, you're blokish to me. For you're like you present as a bloke, but I don't
yeah,
think
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
there's Heydon who's a bloke. I just think, oh, there's Heydon. That's
yeah.
yeah,
Well, I think your first inclination is just like, you think of me just being me, and I think that's
yeah.
wonderful. I love that. I love that. But at the same time, I'm not gonna be affronted by the idea that you see me as being one way or another a bloke, or like
Well,
male,
yeah, but I mean,
because that is how I've chosen to present myself.
yeah,
So yeah,
it's not that important, is it? Really? I mean, it's not
no, no, it's
your,
just like a
what my
costume.
view of you is not the most important thing. I mean, it's the way way I treat
Well,
you and the way we interact is the important thing. Whether,
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
yeah,
I think. I just think that. There's this sort of weird. I think a lot of people expect that there's this demand on you, if you're non-binary, that you kind of have to look like you're non-binary, and
yeah, but I think that partially, Hayden, is that's due to like when you're young, and a lot of
Mm.
people, they're exploring their gender and sexuality, etc., are young, that it's very, you wear it on your surface, like you sort of, you are what you is to an extent.
Yeah, 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 absolutely.
Whereas,
I
which is
can,
to
I
quote
can,
Zappa, but
I
yeah, but to
think
actually,
I can think of a good example of like a good way of like framing it for me. I think is that like whilst I wouldn't intentionally go out to find clothes which feminize me more, um, sometimes I will find that a certain kind of shoes or a certain kind of jacket which is made for women, so
yeah,
trans or cis women, I suppose, um, just looks better on me. And what makes me agender and non-binary in the way that I personally am is the fact that it doesn't bother me. Do you see what I mean? Like, I don't I, like if I was a real blokey bloke, I'd be like, oh, but that's girls' clothing. I can't wear that because
yeah,
I'm not that. That's
yeah,
the other end of that's the zero to my one or whatever it is.
yeah,
To me, it's just like, well, that fits. But I've got a pair of Doc Martin boots, and they look like any other Doc Martin boots, but they happen to be actually a pair that would they were in the women's section, and I just thought, well, they're nicer ones. I want those. And like, it's not like they look feminine, but it's just, yeah, that's the difference for me is that it doesn't bother me the idea that
yeah.
I would be crossing over or whatever. It's just like still arbitrary, really. Yeah.
I'd just like to, yeah, what I was trying to explain before, which I didn't explain very well, is what I meant is when you're younger, that it's
Mm.
a lot more about what you project. As you get older, it's more, well, for me anyway, it's more about feeling comfortable in your own skin.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's a big part of
Not having to, I don't have to prove anything to anyone. I just am. So, yeah, I can't hear you now. Can't hear you. You're muted. You muted yourself. Ah, listen, we're going to have to end it anyway because we've been on for ages, for an hour, another hour and a half, and we could still continue to talk. I'm sure. Well, I'll invite you on again. Um, Thank you, Heydon. Yeah, it's not muted now, but I still can't hear you. Uh, who knows why? Look after yourself, and hopefully we'll see each other soon. And
Oh, yeah, hang on. I think I'm back on, right?
yes, you are.
Yes. Right.
Um,
So, yeah,
Send
I
me the
think you're right.
record.
We've done an hour and a half. I think that's probably as
Yeah.
much as anyone could bear.
Well, yeah.
It's
More
so,
than I can bear.
but
I need to a week.
yeah, I appreciate it. It was really nice in particular to talk about the non-binariness.
Good.
I like to talk about it being like like you have quantum computing. It's supposed to be like a more powerful kind of computing.
Yeah.
Well, if it's quantum, it's because it's non-binary, right? So
Yeah.
quantum computing is non-binary computing. Anyway,
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, it's been great to talk to you. I'm glad you're back in Norfolk without any broken bones.
without incident,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, but send me some links to your various music and where
Mm.
your gigs are and stuff like that. Not. I'm not saying that people will. Well, you might get one person come along.
Do you want links for when you
Yeah,
publish this?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I'll do that. Yeah, and if I don't, do remind me because
yeah,
scatterbrain. But
yeah.
yeah.
It'll be a couple of weeks yet before I put
Mm.
this second one out because I just got to go through the process of doing the thing.
I'll
Yeah,
I think I'm going to go and have a I'll go and have a quick pint of beer before dinner. I'll sit with my phone and find links to stuff whilst I'm doing that.
coolio. Thanks again, Hayden.
Oh,
Always
no
good to
problem. It's
talk.
really just really nice to talk to you, Steve.
Yeah,
Honestly.
and it's good to talk to
So,
you. It's just it's blown me away how positive it has been for me to talk to because people, like not you in particular, but other people that I've known for years that I just haven't ever spoken to really. And I've like harbored some sort of mistrust or dislike for them because I don't know them well enough. And once I get them on start talking to them, I just feel really comfortable and I really like them. So
yeah,
I'm really
well,
liking a lot more people than
you make people feel very comfortable.
Well, yeah, that's the hope.
I know you joke about how you've got everything running very smoothly and everything, but you're a deceptively very good interviewer because you're you're very laid back about it. You just chat. So yeah,
I'm an Aussie mate. That's the way we are.
yeah. That's fine, I suppose.
Look after yourself, and hopefully I'll see you in person soon. Oh, that's what I wanted to mention was that I bumped into Amy Hoop, and she said that you'd mentioned to her, and she's going to come on the show at some point.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, no, I after we spoke about it, I messaged her and said, how do you fancy talking to Steve? And I described the format to her, and she's like, yeah, that sounds.
Yeah, she seemed to be really up for it. So
she'll be very good.
I'm going to talk to her.
Amy's another person who's just naturally very, very funny. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want them to be wall to wall blokes. Put it that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I just like to get a range of people because when I was talking to Natalie about was that one of the things that I do like about the accessory community is that there's a fair. Well, it's not a balance, but there's more women involved in the accessory work than
other areas of tech.
Yeah, and it's really a good thing too. I mean, I just appreciate not just women, but obviously disabled people and people with different perspectives and stuff.
It's more diverse, certainly.
Yeah.
I mean, it helps to have a lot of disabled people involved. That increases the diversity automatically. But it's a good mix of people, definitely.
All right.
Cool.
Talk to you later.
Yeah, cheers, Steve. Love
Bye.
You.
Hey, and remember that you need to tell me what shirt you want.
Oh,
or whatever. You might want a mug or a bunch of stickers. Just have a look on the site. Just tell me. So then that way I will send it off to you.
Yeah, sweet. I'll get on the shop and have a browse around.
And you may even want to have a look at Pat's because Pat's been doing some really nice shirts.
Are they on the same site on your site?
No. Well, some of his shirts are on my site, but then he created his own, and he's been making more shirts since then. Not necessarily with the same the same focus on web standards, but just some really nice shirts. He bought me one for my birthday, which he brought up to Birmingham recently, and it's like the smoking sign. It's like it's just a cigarette. Like he saw this smoking sign somewhere when he was in Japan, and it's a really nice shirt. So
I love stuff like that, where it's just sort of like it's a shirt which has something on it, but there's no real explanation.
Yeah. Well, it's just an icon for smoking. I wore it when I went to get my lungs. Had a CT scan of my lungs. So.
Oh right, blimey, yeah, okay.
Well, it was an age-related thing, and all is well. But they probably put the wind up me because they said, we'll contact you in 6 weeks if everything's okay. We'll contact you in a week if there's any problem, or if there's any.
And they got back to you in a week.
Yeah, they got back. But what was worse was that they rang and they tried to get in contact one day, and I missed the call. So I was like, sweet. I was thinking, what?
Oh no!
What the fuck?
I mean, honest, like that sort of thing bothers me so much when people say they're going to do something specific way. They contradict themselves. Like, don't tell me you're going to do it that way. Then just don't say anything.
It's just, but long story short, my lungs are fine, so I'm quite happy about that.
Good.
Anyway, enough of my of my aging crisis.
Your senescence. Yeah.
Love you, Heydon. See you, mate.
Yeah, love you too. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.